know and love come to you like the sound of equipment being thrown from a moving van, the sound of dead cell phones and oil rigs, the sound of empty parking lots and school buses. They love to live and live to love. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesus Children of America, the White Stripes.
Hello, come on in. The water's great. My name is Ryan Schaap, and this is the hardest podcast to podcast, a podcast celebrating the White Stripes' entire catalog, one song at a time, one song per episode, with one lovely special guest. Can we talk about last week's episode for a second? Alexis Young from the great band Blood Diamond. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed that conversation about In the Cold, Cold Night. It was exactly what I was hoping for, a passionate female musician that, understood the place Meg was in for it and in for the song, and how special that track turned out. So I greatly enjoyed that conversation. It was also neat to see a clip that I found of Meg singing After Hours, a Velvet Underground cover, go oddly blow up on Instagram and other social media. So that was cool. And I think it's special to see in the year 2025, that there were very few dickhead comments that I had to hide. So that's cool. It's going to be a pretty damn quick intro. The Seattle Mariners just got eliminated in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. I have a baseball team that I love in the summer, the Mariners, and a hockey team in the winter. I love the Vancouver Canucks. So, bit of a bitter pill to swallow right now. You can probably hear it in my voice, and not like the other episodes where I worry about how low energy I am. So, Broken Bricks is Broken Bricks is the song this week, and Broken Bricks is a pretty significant song in my White Stripes fandom. So I liked White Blood Cells when we bought it in grade 10. I wasn't 100% sold on it. It was like a little difficult to get into. So I remember finding a live show, and I don't think it was a festival one or anything of significance. I don't know how I downloaded it, but I remember hearing Broken Bricks, like a live version, and I just thought, what is this fun song? Like, what is this punk rock banger that's barely, not even 2 minutes, and just goes so hard and does so much? And it didn't take much longer after that to kind of get what they were doing. And I remember the second White Stripes album I bought was the first one after White Blood Cells, because of Broken Bricks. So it was a great conversation over the weekend with my dear friend Matt Kerr, his second appearance on the hardest podcast to podcast, and I thought we had a fun conversation. Was one of us a little hungover? Maybe. Was the other one a little tired from a night out where we rendezvoused with one another? Potentially. But I really enjoyed it, and I really liked it. I think that's all I'm going to say this week. I'm pretty sad about baseball and about the Mariners. Quick shout out to devoted listener Keith. Keith writes me a great email every week that I absolutely love and adore chatting with him about the episode. And he made a very, very generous donation, pledge over at buymeacoffee.com/hardestpodtopod. So if you like what we're doing here, go to buymeacoffee.com/hardestpodtopod. Anything that you pledge, donate back for our show, it gets invested right back into the program. So if you can, that's awesome. If you can, I absolutely appreciate every cent. And if you're unable to, that's completely understandable. Just help grow the footprint of the show. Tell a friend, tell 7 of them, share it on your social media, and interact with our social media. We are Hardest Pod to Pod everywhere but X, the Everything app. Although that's where we should be doing our banking, right? Goddamn baseball. Okay, call to action this week. Do you know why we do a call to action? Yes, you do. It's because we want those streaming stats that the Third Man Records Fat Cats see every week when they look and say, hey, there's a little blip on Broken Bricks. Why is that? Hey, the hardest podcast a podcast did Broken Bricks. Huh, maybe we should throw them a bone. That's why. You hitting pause on this episode and listening to this week's song, Broken Bricks, not only does it make the song fresh in your minds, it also helps us deliver some piece of tangible data that people far above our pay grade might get the chance to see. So let's all do that to help support this show. Hit pause on this podcast. Go to your streaming platform of choice. Go to the White Stripes' first album, self-titled, 99, and go find Broken Bricks. Minute 51. Listen to it twice. It'll be good for you. Let's get this show on the road. Let's chat with Matt Kerr. I will always love the Seattle Mariners. Our guest this week plays drums in the hardcore outfit Terrifying Girls High School. His new EP, Sad Boys Swimming Hole, is now available. He is also one of the executive producers of Thanks to the Hard Work of Elephants, which recently premiered at the Vancouver International Film Festival. He is Matt Kerr. Matt, how are you?
I have felt better, and you know why. I saw Ryan last night at the local watering hole, Good and Company, in my neighborhood, and I arrived lit up. I left my house drunk, so things didn't get any better in terms of how I was going to feel this morning when I was at the bar. I need to do a hot water with lemon just to get here in time, that kind of thing.
I was a little more reserved last night. I came in through the door at about 1 a.m. You know, it's not every day in your mid to late 30s that you're eating pizza or donairs on the side of the road at 12:30 in the morning. But alas, I was. But I came home and I didn't bang and crash into things that like maybe you do when you're even in worse shape. There's the knocking stuff over. There's the trail of clothes that you take off to get into your bed where it is safe and the journey home is over. I think I'm in pretty good spirits today, I would say. But I appreciate that you're making the effort.
Yeah, spirits are high, but the body has felt better. Hydration is crucial at this point in time. Rebalancing the electrolytes. So I hope to like play myself into shape throughout the course of this podcast. I feel like if I can get the energy up like it was last night, I'll be very happy. But I don't want to pull something.
I think we'll get there. Off the top, what are your thoughts on your band's new EP?
I'm really happy with it. It's funny because there's one song called Kupo Core that is about as old as any music we've ever had. Like it's one of our oldest songs, but we just put it out in this current EP, and it's really funny to see people be like, "Oh, this song rocks!" So like, why didn't we record this a decade ago when it existed and we've been playing it forever? So
I always wonder about that with bands, like even with the White Stripes. They're for their last album, Mickey Thump, they had a song Little Cream Soda that had been kicking around for 4 years. And for one of Jack White's solo albums, he had a song that had been kicking around for 13 years. As an artist, what is it about these songs that stick around that you're hesitant to pull the trigger on? And then what finally makes you want to take that chance and finally pull the trigger and record that music?
So I would say personally, it's not probably the same thought process as someone like Jack White. For us, it's more of like our recording cadence is like, presidential terms, 2 presidential terms between recordings. So you're getting around to it is the biggest challenge more than deciding what might get put in the mix. Like we don't, generally speaking, outside of this one song, we don't like save them. We're not hiding any songs from the public in terms of what we record. We record everything we write. And we the song, like something that we write that doesn't go anywhere, that's getting binned by the like us not practicing it anymore kind of selection process. Does that make sense?
There isn't a cutting room floor. It's a level
No,
of effort.
it's like it's like what what babies like make it to full term. Those are the songs you get. Like if this thing like exists in reality and we've practiced it a few times, it'll probably end up getting recorded at some point.
Well, that also weeds out the lesser songs, because if you don't believe in them, you're not going to keep practicing them.
That's exactly right. Like and it's like when you're writing it, you're like, I just don't, if you in the writing process, essentially most of our songs come with like one of the members brings like a part, and everyone's like,
Yep.
oh, how do I fit on this, right?
Totally.
And it's like if your song has like a cheerleader, it's gonna like survive probably. And currently the song that's getting streamed the most is a song called "Do You Have Games on Your Phone?" That was the spine was brought by our bassist.
Do you have games on your phone? That is a great title for a song.
Yeah, it's a question that like 5-year-olds ask adults. Because you're scrolling on your phone and they're like, "What is he doing on there?"
I'm reading the internet.
Yeah, they're like, "Must be games." That's a stupid answer. Reading.
Well, this week you're also our third return guest. I hold you in high regard.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but I look to have a good even mix of returners and first timers and musicians and those of the high acclaim. So I am and was excited to record with you again. But we're doing a White Stripes song that there's not a lot to it. At least not on the internet. There's not much of a paper trail. It is off of their first album, their self-titled album in 1999, The White Stripes. And it's Broken Bricks. When I told you what song that we would be doing and you went to give the song a listen a couple times, what kind of went through your mind?
Just like the first thing that stuck out to me was that you can kind of feel the analog quality of the recording. Like it's very classic to the White Stripes that like you kind of hear that little hiss and pop of like pre-digital recording, which they would like never give up, but was in 1999 would probably be still kind of the standard. Maybe I would imagine
it was probably what was most accessible
available
to them.
Yeah, especially in the Midwest. And then, the thing that I think about immediately is like you look at the lyrics and you're like, oh, this is 1999. This is the Midwest. He's from Detroit. And the lyrics are all kind of about urban decay, by my estimation. It's like closed down factory is the imagery I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, if we're gonna go through this later, stop me. But yeah, I'm getting vibes of Detroit has gone through rough times since they were the Silicon Valley of cars. Back when cars were the big hot tech.
Yeah. Big tech was Chrysler.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's more or less what happened, right?
Of course.
GM and Chrysler were like the biggest, best companies on earth for a while. And being a Detroiter meant you were going to make a lot of money working at the Chrysler factory. And now, all those jobs are in Mexico and Indonesia and stuff.
And even worse, it's AI or 3D printing or automation.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like Detroit for 10 years or whatever has been in like the gentrification, rebuild, build a stadium downtown, build an entertainment neighborhood around it. Like, they're doing what they can to rebuild, but like, there was a long time through the 80s and the 90s and when the White Stripes were coming up, like this was not a nice place to live. This was like a ghost town for the most part. Like everybody that had money any money, seemingly lived in the suburbs, and the neighborhood that Jack White grew up in Southwest Detroit, elegantly titled Mexico Town, was not nice. It was just a rough way of living. It was a stark reminder of the automotive boom, and then it's like, hey, like, you know, I just think of like Portland, and it's like, hey, let's go find an old, here's the nice part of town, here's the nice street, but like, let's go find the weirdo art space, or let's open this up in this dump and turn it into something cool. And it's like, unless, like, it feels like everything about Detroit was just like, here's a ravaged dump, and if you can find something to kind of to create an environment that would lift spirits, like all the power to you, because it does not seem like there was much there.
And it's interesting too, because like this is in 1999, and they didn't even know that 2008 was a decade away, where you'd be able to, buy houses for $5,000 and
buy a block of houses in Detroit. And
if you could pay the property tax on it, you could own that type of thing. Like, so it got a lot worse from there. And like, I think, gentrification can be like a dirty word, but like, it seems like Detroit has come up in the world since then. Like, that was probably a KO blow in 2008 that they had to recover from.
Jesus. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you start talking about the lyrics. The unique thing about this song, and I maybe I didn't include it in your little prep sheet.
Yes.
Seemingly, this is the only White Stripes original that Jack White or Meg White did not write the words for.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah. So Jack has 9 siblings.
Okay.
And his brother Stephen Gillis wrote the words. And when I see this, I was listening to the White Stripe. I was listening to the album today. This song is between Astro and When I Hear My Name, if memory serves me. 2 songs, like a lot of space, a lot of room to breathe. We're regularly talk about on the show that White Stripe songs have like a lot of moments in songs for you to interpret it your own way, or for them to tailor it, or change it, or add to it, or personalize it even more live. This song, I kind of get the sense, I couldn't find any information about this, but I feel like the lyrics of this song were written long before that this song was created. Like, this reads like a poem, or obviously it rhymes. So this reads like a poem that was written about decay in Detroit, and like either Jack liked the words or needed some words, or just decided, I think that would be a good song. But like, this song's only 1:51, and it is in your face the whole time, with guitar, with drums, with that alarm bell sounding effect.
Yeah.
And like a lot of lyrics. Like, he is saying so much. One of the people in rock music that I find hilarious, and I'm not a hater, but Chad Kroeger in Nickelback says so many words all the time. Like, he is like, every Nickelback song, every song that he's written has a tongue twister, and it's like, how many words can I fit into one line? Taylor Swift's a little like that too. I get that with Jack White on Broken Bricks. I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, sometimes people have to get in there like rap god Eminem kind of. That kind of cadence, right? I can't do it at all. I wouldn't want to try, but I don't know. I kind of noticed that, to me, that the kind of what's going on in the lyrics of Broken Bricks don't really like match the tone of the music, if that makes any sense. Like, the music
absolutely does.
Kind of like, hey ho, let's go, kind of charging, like,
hey,
style.
Let's go to the Broken Bricks, but don't go there.
It's like, this place sucks, do like, kind of like I don't know, I don't really like. So I think that really does add up. What you're saying is like the lyrics being written by another person well before, and then like somewhat feels a bit maybe jammed in, and then going absolutely ham on the bell solo is really like love that. It felt like, I don't know if this like went around where you came up, but cowbell solo was like a meme. Uh, and
This is pre-cowbell, so it's
yeah,
they're
of course,
trendsetters.
pre cowbell being a meme, but like yeah, but like I don't know, it just like it pleased me so much to hear that like ring a ding 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 a ding. Like um when I was younger, I used to think like the cleverer something was, like the better it was, and these two things were equivalent.
Okay.
But as I get older, like things like being really stupid and then like working, like that's just fine. That'll do for me. Like really dumb stuff is like, this is entertainment, y'all. Like, like absolute cinema to me that you just threw in this ringing bell on the 1 and 2 for like 15 straight seconds in a minute 50-second song.
They do it twice.
Yeah, I know, it's great. They go back to it.
Well, I've never really dissected this song before or kind of put that much thought into it. And like the first thing I thought of is like this ringing bell is a security bell. They're obviously an alarm. They're breaking into this construction site, this demolition site. I got to tell you, before I started this podcast, we invested in the book, the White Stripes Complete Lyrics, the book, because like the lyrics. I went to like a couple different. If you click Broken Bricks lyrics and go to it, there's no way it could be wrong or incorrect. So like, the lyrics that I found online, commonly known, were like quite incorrect.
That happens a lot in my experience. Like, as a person who is in a band with very difficult to discern lyrics, people be making stuff up online. I don't know if you knew that. People lie on the internet, and they think they know things, and they just don't sometimes. So,
do you ever see any of the? Do you ever see any of the made up or the interpreted lyrics and go, "Well, shit, those are better than the ones we had"?
I don't write the lyrics, so I'm not gonna say that. Some of them are just insane, which I really. I saw one the other day for a new album, and I'm not gonna repeat it online because they made it more offensive.
Gotcha.
X-rated in a way that I was like, well, that is an interesting interpretation of like a chorus lyric.
In finding the true lyrics, it like this, I love this song, but in coming to kind of study it, like this is a lyric song to me. There's so much more that Jack is trying to get out in sharing these than there is musically, which is not a knock. But when you read the correct lyrics, essentially, have you been to the Broken Bricks, girl? So you have a demolition site or a rundown building, snuck down through the cyclone fence. So, one of those temporary fences that is set up, past the caution tape and the security gate, backwards to the break room bench. And then this is where it gets a little unique. Like it kind of talks about like, this is as poetry that Jack White's brother wrote. Like, I really began to appreciate this poetry because it's like, here's this decaying dump of a site. They're going to tear it down. It's just there for demolition. Who cares about it? And then as you break in and you go through this, it's like, oh, this is so many key moments in history and like family history. Well, there's a little corner where you first got kissed and then felt her boyfriend's fist. So part of me thinks that Jack White the narrator is talking about getting a smooch off of a coworker's girlfriend and then getting punched in the face for it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And then it's also kind of the juxtaposition of like, like I said earlier, the urban decay, but also the romance, right? Like,
absolutely.
And it's you're kind of like remembering what was, but also kind of you said like, have you been to the Broken Bricks, girl? Like, have you been there now when it's decay? Like, and I would take you there today, and it's romantic to me.
Well,
to
it's a
look at.
memory of yesteryear. It's a
Yeah.
memory of like so many family experiences where there was a little spot where your dad ate lunch and your brother landed his first punch. So
Mhm.
whatever trade or factory or mill or industrial zone this is, it sounds like people are getting into a lot of fights in Detroit at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. One might imagine that you know,
You gotta do what you
any
gotta
kind
do.
of mill, people be getting into disagreements, coming to blows. Uh,
Happens to the
I
best
don't
of
know.
us, right?
Yeah,
Big
if you have a
shift.
job to do, you're gonna find any way to not do it, right? So come up, get into a scrap with some guy named Fred
Yeah.
because he doesn't agree with you on which car color is the best.
didn't like the Lions O line last week.
Yeah, we got guys out there sandbagging.
Oh, I can't. And then you realize you're sandbagging, trying not to work, picking fights with Frank.
Yeah,
Well, you've been to the Broken Bricks, girl, seen the barrels that they left behind, seen the machine that cut aluminum clean, duct tape on the caution sign. I like that. This is a lyric I can't find the true version of, so I'm going off what the book says. Broken tooth window panes.
yeah,
People just assume that you're breaking into window panes or interpreting lyrics differently. Drop a rusty nail that drives a man insane. You try to jump over water, but you land in oil. Climb the ladder of a broken crane. Last lyric I like that is quite poignant is it's not the place that you want to be. Think about the spot where your father spent his life. Demolition calls it building C. I'm always that immediately reminds me of one of my favorite movies, the most white guy movie from the 90s, Jerry Maguire. And Jerry
yeah.
Maguire is talking to the little kid drunk, and he's spilling his guts, and the little kid's just so confused and wants to go to the zoo. And Jerry Maguire's spilling his guts about his dad, and he's like, my dad worked for the United Way for 40 years, and when he finally retired, all he said was, I wish they gave me a more comfortable chair.
Oh, man,
I
yeah, it's
immediately
brutal.
get that from this of think about where your old man spent his life here. It meant so much. It consumed him. It was a provider. It was what he did. It would, for all we know, it's its identity. And the demolition company just labels it Building C and gives no
Yeah,
shits because there's no soul to it anymore.
yeah. What do you call it? Reach the end of the viable lifetime, and they're just gonna put a bullet in that thing. It's tough. It's yeah. It brings to mind the kind of the social contractor as like the way certain people see it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's an unaligned view of management and labor, where the the labor are treated as little kind of units of purchasable good, and
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to be viewed as that. They want to feel like what they're doing is meaningful, and it's put in stark relief when stuff like this happens, when the whole plant's getting demoed, and maybe there'll be no evidence that you did work your whole life there. It's very sad.
Well, and then you think of like, Matt and I both live in Vancouver, which has many a crises. One of
Many
them
a
is
crisis.
many a crises. One of them is housing, and we have a lot of developers that want to, without getting too far into it, how the city of Vancouver taxes retail spaces. There are a lot of one, maybe two-story retail or industrial places that the people that own them really want to tear them down so that they can build a retail space and 6-7 floors of condos above it, which that does help the housing issue in our city in some way, in one aspect. But you have these community spaces that have meant so much to so many people for so long, like whether it's some sort of art studio or some sort of gathering space or a restaurant or a bar or whatever you have, like generations of people have gone there and had and experienced it and have those memories. And then you have a developer that's like, if we just burn it down, we could speed up this process, get the demolition process in our favor. So it's like you have these like hundreds, thousands of people that like love this place. And then you have one guy being like, all right, so if we destroy this, then it's going to help us a lot more. And it's
I think we're going to have to throw in a word allegedly so we don't get sued right now.
Yes. Lots of allegedlys in there.
Allegedly, developers burned down Valley Village on Hastings. Yeah.
Or the other ones on Hastings.
And a whole bunch of other buildings. Allegedly, that was nefarious. And there's allegedly a lot of insurance as well.
But you have like, a beautiful city like we live in where it's like we're going to, tear down, demolish these memories one way or another. And then you have this tough town like Detroit where it's like, we just got this, we're just blowing this thing up, and what's going to be there? Well, there's going to be nothing. So it's just, hey, it's easier it's cheaper to blow it up than maintain it. So thank you all for working here. Thank you for getting your first kiss and getting in fights, but we're done. Kick rocks. Yeah. So this song, Matt, it has a close spot in my heart. I believe I was looking it up now. I thought maybe they played this at Glastonbury, but this was like the first. I liked the White Stripes when I heard their singles, like "Fell in Love with a Girl," "Hotel Yorba," "Dead Leaves," but I couldn't grasp on to White Blood Cells. My 15-year-old self couldn't really sink my claws into it. Maybe it wasn't the most accessible record. This was an era where we were buying bootlegs or live recordings off of like forums and stuff, like not things you could find on Kazaa or torrents. Like it's this is 4 years before YouTube, so we had bought like a handful of bootlegs or live recordings, and I remember listening to one and hearing Broken Bricks. I'm like, whoa, what's this like punk song? What's this easy, fast, fun, like the White Stripes are a harder, louder band, but there aren't a lot of songs that make you want to get it going in the pit.
Yeah, I noticed in the YouTube video you provided for the preparation for this podcast, Meg is coming down so heavy with her right hand on that snare drum. I was like, damn, she like hates that snare drum. Like she's giving it the business. It's just like, and the way the song works is just like on the drums, it's like, very simple. It's like boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, right?
Bell, 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 bell,
yeah,
bell, bell.
Yeah. But those claps, she's just like bringing the hammer down so hard. And like, it feels very punk rock, like in a way that like a lot of White Stripes music doesn't necessarily. Like I would say it's hard to classify White Stripes as anything but kind of like rock and roll Americana, maybe like blues, maybe
rock
but
and blues.
Also, bluesy rock. But this one, definitely has like some punk rock vibes to it. So I'm very excited to be able to put my opinions on there.
Oh, I love fun punk. I love fun punk songs that make you want to just move and shove people around in the pit and have fun, and that's what this song really is. And once I kind of heard this, I'm like, oh, okay. So I think my like closed-minded 15-year-old would listen to White Blood. My closed-minded 15-year-old brain listened to White Blood Cells. I'm like, oh, they're being too weird. There aren't enough rock songs. And then I hear this, I'm like, oh, they are that type of band. They're just not being as middle of the mall as other punk bands are. And this was my jumping off point, and everything kind of made sense after hearing this song.
Totally. And one thing I noticed about it is the quality of the guitar really reminds me. It's almost like a sound alike for Chelsea Dagger.
Yes.
Like I almost expect that like to like come in over the guitar when it starts, and then like Broken Bricks starts, like the lyrics come in and you're like, oh, it's not Chelsea Dagger. But they do a lot of that kind of pushed moment that like you're like, oh, what was that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gets you. So this song's written. The lyrics are written by Jack's brother Steven.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I can't find any information about him. I'm sure he's, Jack's the youngest of 10, so I'm sure he's much older.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
He definitely has like the vibes of the Giga youngest child, right? Like, he needs the most attention, but he's gonna do it in his own way, right?
Wouldn't you be with
Yeah.
10 kids in that little house in Detroit?
Yeah, that's how it goes, right? Like, I don't know. My younger brother is, pretty successful rock star type, and he's the youngest. And because parents don't have any attention to give, they've got to get the attention by doing great feats. They've got to really perform to like get a tenth of the attention they deserve. So, but yeah, I was gonna ask you when you said he had 9 other siblings. I was like, where is he in the birth order? Then when you said the final, I was like, well, that's exactly what you'd expect.
His mom was 45 when she had him.
Wow.
And she's still alive. And she like goes to all the Detroit shows. Like, it's very special.
So she's like got to be 95.
Yeah.
That's
old is like, what an old tough woman.
1 million cigarettes deep.
But you brought up your brother. So I was going to
Yeah.
ask you this question because Stephen Gillis writes these lyrics. They're very non-Jack Whitey. If you listen to the song Before and After on the first album, there's barely any lyrics. It is classic White Stripes of short and simple and to the point. Who has a better chance of their brother writing lyrics for them to appear on their music? You, Charlie Kerr writing a terrifying girls' high school song, or you writing a Hotel Mira song?
I think both are pretty unlikely, to be perfectly honest. I don't do a lot of writing of like, I have trouble writing like poetry because I have like, instruction manual brain.
Oh, yes.
Like very literal, very like,
Step
I'm
one.
like, yes, yeah, that type of thing. And then like also the people that are in charge of like singing in my band probably would be very unlikely to like other people writing for them. Like they have trouble singing lyrics that the other guy wrote in the band. They're always arguing about this type of thing. So
the overtly horny lyrics of Charlie might not make it in your songs.
Well, let's say I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna say with the like precondition that both are very unlikely, Charlie writing for us is more likely because, he's good at it. You know what I'm saying? Like he has the chops and I would think that it would take something very bad happening for me to get on the Mira album as a writing credit. Outside of like maybe like writing music rather than lyrics.
We're gonna have to send him this clip.
I would probably like someone would have to like find a journal entry of mine because I died, and that would like that might happen. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of I think what it would take.
And Charlie's like, oh, I found Matt's journal. I think we could use some. I always figured we could use these for lyrics, and it's like, step 1, here is how I'm feeling. Step 2.
Honestly, like when you look at my journal, it is literally like what I did today.
Instruction manual.
No, it's more of like, you know how like when you play video games and you like play 10 games, they're like, here's an award. You played 10 games. Like that's what my journal looks like. It's like I went for a run today. Like emails, that kind of stuff. Well, if I put in a real good shift on the emails, I'm gonna have to mention that.
You're in a bad spot when your employer asks what you did today, and you're like, oh, a lot of emails.
Oh, if you wouldn't believe the emails. Yeah.
Let's go to this song's legacy. The legacy, the biggest part of the legacy is that it was my entry point in the White Stripes. I was trying to think. I have a couple of songs came to mind when I was thinking of like pivotal songs that really got me into other bands. For the White Stripes, it was Broken Bricks.
I know for me with White Stripes, like Fell in Love with a Girl was the like seeing that music video really pulled me in. That that was a really great one for me. Like the Lego music video was like probably the the iconic moment that like brought me. I think the White Stripes, particularly having such a strong visual aspect to their art or to their music, is
Hmm.
you know really important to why they were so successful. I think I saw one of your clips where you're talking with Kurt,
Yeah.
and the words he said were I thought were great. Where he's like, "It's not a gimmick band, but a band with a gimmick."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me." Um, that they like the gimmick uh, visually is so strong. Like I don't know, watching their one of the videos you sent with Meg sitting on her throne that says Meg in red and white. Like it's just there's so many little details that are just like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. There's
And
so many things that you see in those performances that you like. You're not taking away from listening to the music, but you're just like,
yeah,
you're so intrigued and stimulated by like, oh, there's the
yeah,
Meg. Why wouldn't she have? And it's like, it's
and
never, you're never kind of like, why would they do that? It's like, well, it's red, white, and black, and
yeah.
why wouldn't they do that?
Well, so and it's interesting too because like I know you and a lot of your friends are into pro wrestling, right? And it's like, oh, why do people do this type of thing? It's like to be like kind of a annoying not art person. It's like it's branding essentially, right? Like
Yeah.
having like a visual cue of like what you are and what you stand for that is like really immediately apparent is like really smart thing to do. And a lot of bands don't want to do it. I think probably because they're like, we're cool. We don't do that type of thing. Like we're not going to be ABBA up here in jumpsuits. And you're like, well, maybe you should be ABBA. They've sold like a billion records, like, you know what I mean?
There's
Like,
something identifiable about them, and
yeah,
people remember it and latch onto it.
yeah, not everyone can be Mastodon. Like, where you're just like, oh, yeah, I remember them because they shred incredibly hard. Like, I don't know.
I believe it's a Kiss quote, where they're like, when they're, Kiss is another example of like, how do you stand out? No matter how good or bad your music is, like to have it resonate with people and,
Mhm.
be memorable, like you need to do something else. And like, it's a visual art form that accompanies the music. So like in probably the 5 million times that Gene and Paul were asked about this. R.I.P. Ace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Um, um, I think it's Gene. He's like, yeah, or one of them was like, who's a great band? Is Toto. Like Toto
Yeah.
is an amazing band, amazing players, like some of the best pure musicians you'll ever see in your life. Perfect singers. So it's like, I don't know what any member of that band looks like,
Nope.
and it's
I
like,
was going to say, you know what no one has ever said in the
what's that?
history of rock music? Kiss. Like, oh, yeah, I forgot about Kiss. Like, no, you just like immediately, like, I don't know. There's something very, it's hard to explain how you get there, obviously, but
Yeah.
like, iconic imagery is crucial to music, even though music in theory is like, works without the imagery, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's an addition, but like the way the mind works is like album covers, videos, recordings of performances. Like people want to be able to like look at those things and you know, pull up the music in their mind. And it's interesting too, listening to um the music for this episode. Like I keep thinking so much that like it feels like it's the soundtrack to something, even though I don't uh like have any evidence of that. I'm like this when I listen to a lot of this White Stripes like early music, I feel like it's almost filmic, and I don't know if that makes any sense or not.
Yeah. Well, it takes you to a place, it paints a picture to you that like,
Yeah,
this is the type of music that you would want to hear in a film that
yeah,
helps punctuate a story or further it. So like, I I totally get that, and like especially with Broken Bricks, like listen to the lyrics. Like this is a soundtrack. This is like they've already given you half the plot there. Urban decay in Detroit, generations of family memories destroyed in one fell swoop. Everything that your father held dear referred to as Building C, and like the song ends, and you're like, well, now what happens in this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like that. I've never had that thought about early White Stripes songs. Is there another one that comes to mind? Like, I mean, you were here for I Think I Smell a Rat. Is that another soundtrack piece for you?
So that would be like something more like that you might find in like a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
where it's almost like if that were on a movie, it would be like extremely like overwrought, and like the director's really trying to tell you what's happening in the plot. You know what I mean? By like having the lyrics of the song be like, this guy is fishy.
If you haven't figured it out yet, this guy is fishy, and we're gonna beat it over your head with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's something like that. I could see that, but like again, it's not, for whatever reason, the early stuff, the kind of punchy guitar stuff feels very like it could be sitting on top of the movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Talking about like the visual representation and like in the Kiss conversation, like bands that are like, the White Stripes are as known for their aesthetic as Kiss or Slipknot or Mr. Bungle or any old like insane bands. Devo was the first one that popped in my mind. Like all they did was wear a kooky hat and like a tracksuit, and like these are the weirdest guys in the world.
They're quite an interesting case as well, actually. I think
I would agree. Learning about
they had like a thesis to their project that was, the name Devo is short for devolution. Did you know that?
I did, actually. I was listening to a podcast this week about it.
And they like a lot of their music is like it kind of falls apart, and like it's on the like topic of like how like people are getting worse and dumber.
Yeah. And how they rose to fame in the early MTV days because they had made all of these satirical music videos that like for like Whip It and stuff that were part of this larger like art project. And then when MTV starts up, it's like, hey, we need a bunch of videos. This band Devo has 5 of them. Let's just chuck them in. And it worked in their favor.
One of the funny things is they're from Ohio, right? So they're kind of not too far away from like, let's say, Michigan.
Yeah.
And their experience, like they're a bit older, obviously, than the White Stripes by like a couple decades. But they are trying to play shows in like college towns and stuff, and people hate them. Like they're unlistenable to the local crowd. And they're getting like booed off stage in like, Columbus or wherever it is, and it's crazy to think about as like a person living in the 2020s, that this band that like is known for like kind of poppy hits was like an art project that was getting like booed off stage by jocks.
Take that hat off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, very funny to me. And like,
well, the white
people, you have to put yourself out there in a pretty big way when you do these like big choices. Yeah. And it's not always going to work, right? And it worked for Devo in the long run, but like they had to, like I said, deal with people like hating them.
Do you think that the White Stripes would get the Devo treatment if it was 2 guys instead of Meg?
Maybe a bit more. It's tough though, because like we discussed this last time, but like definitely there was some like amount of like misogyny against Meg. Yeah. Kept the White Stripes in the mouths of the people. It maybe more in a way that you wouldn't want necessarily.
I couldn't agree more.
Like,
yeah.
No press is bad press, kind of, especially in the internet era. Like if people are talking about you, it's always good. If you're living in a world of streams and attention, but
in the way it's funny that like, as much as they're revered for their aesthetic, they're also like hated. And it's like, why? And I'm like, this band is hated not because of their music or disliked not because of their music, but because they wore the same color pants and shirts and had
Yeah.
equipment that was the same color.
So
And
I think that there is a contingent of people out there that has an idea of what should work and why it should work. And they
yes,
get
there are.
frustrated when things don't follow that rule set, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think what should work is virtuosity, right? Like being a virtuoso, uh, like, you know, like I said, like the Mastodon guys or like Yngwie Malmsteen. Everything needs to be extremely complicated and technical. And like to some extent, the White Stripes are achieving that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they make really clean and good songs. What they're trying to make is just you know, maybe simplistic to some ears. It's not to me. When I hear the song we you know, listen to today, Broken Bricks, I'm hearing like a well executed song, but some people might just think it's slop, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like uh and one thing I will think that I think is really crucial to the White Stripes is I think there's this kind of bifurcation with certain types of artists. They call them, it's something I heard and I really believe it. It's there's two types of artists. There's painters and there's chiselers. So a painter is the type of person that keeps adding layers, adding more and more layers until they're satisfied. They're like, this painting is beautiful. And then the sculptor, chiseler type starts with something, you know, a brick, a block, and chisels away. They take away until there's enough removed. And they're like, oh, now I'm satisfied. We have a statue. We started with a brick, and now it's a
And a
statue.
and a
And the
chiseler,
chiseler,
Matt,
yeah,
the chiseler has to make the difficult decision to be
yeah,
like, I need to be satisfied and confident in my art, because if I
yeah,
continue, there's no, like, the canvas just disappears, and it's like the
yeah,
structure of what I have chiseled just ceases to exist. A painting can get more convoluted, and complicated, but you can fix that, and you can change the narrative, and you can change the themes and whatnot. But with a chisel, if you keep chiseling or keep sculpting, it just disappears into thin air.
yeah. Eventually, there will be nothing if you keep editing down, right? And you know, there's no artist that is truly only one of these things, except for the people that literally do painting and literally do sculpture.
Yeah.
But you know, there, I think certain artists are much more inclined to edit, and certain artists are much more inclined to add.
Yeah.
And I think the you know, for me, the people that can like edit things down to where they actually are like very simple yet resonant are like the people that are doing the I don't want to say more elevated thing, but it's like often what I find myself preferring.
Well, you came up with a perfect analogy that this will absolutely be an Instagram clip. So I ask you, Jack, the White Stripes, are they painters? Are they chiselers? Where do they skew
Oh, I mean,
towards?
I brought this up because they're definitely, in my mind, the sculptor. They're
Hell
not
yeah.
the painter. Like, no painter would choose three colors, or maybe very few painters would choose three colors. You know,
Sure.
like that's an editing choice, in my opinion. That's a you chose to not use the other dozen. You know.
I love that. Couple of quick notes before we wind up here. A couple of reviews as we're talking about the song's legacy. Noreen Cashin of the Detroit Metro Times said their first record serves better to remind us that Detroit's local identity has more options than a membership card to the latest cliche or a one-way ticket to the coast, which I absolutely love that, because
Yeah,
with all scenes, with all popular kind of trends in a scene or a town or a whatever, it's like everything is like the same. And to kind of share a similar spirit, but channel in a different way is always special to see in my mind.
Yeah, and like, bring up again that this is a song about romanticizing the kind of tough things about where you're from,
Yeah.
right? And kind of, it's super common for artists to struggle with their kind of origin. If you've watched that movie Orange County, that's like a big theme. I really like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, kind of having to synthesize being a Detroiter. Like I obviously can't speak to that, but like this type of art really gives you an opportunity to like have a view on that for yourself and like try to understand like what's going on for these people that might not have the spotlight on them that much because they live
Yeah.
in the less glitzy part of the world and like their what's the word their legacy can kind of be dusted away,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like what's having a spotlight shone on it in this song is that like, yeah, you should appreciate these people.
Yeah, and they've chosen to romanticize it and stick
Yeah.
with it instead of hightailing it out and saying where I came from sucks.
Well,
And I
like
think, yeah.
I've taken girls on some questionable dates in the past, but I've never taken them to the Broken Bricks. So that's
we were chatting about the aesthetics of the band, and one of the reasons the White Stripes got really big was there's a BBC DJ named John Peel who was very renowned in the UK for a long time, and he randomly spotted the album in a record store, this album, the first one, and he looked at the titles and he's like, "This sounds unique." They're also he looked at the record and like everything about he saw was just like, this stands out. I'm drawn to it. And he listened to it. He really liked it. He made their next single, "Hello Operator," his single of the week, and like
yeah,
everything went on from there. So we don't have to go back to talking about the aesthetics, but it's like there's a reason why you do something to stand out. You don't want to look
yeah.
like every other album on the shelf.
And then when you open your album with a song called Jimmy the Exploder, and in the song you talk about how he's exploded, like
who says no?
who's gonna? Well, it's this type of thing that like it's gonna be tough to forget, you know.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's the type of thing you do in your mid-20s, and if it comes off, you're not gonna regret it,
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about the live history. The song was only played 45 times live. It's the 54 most played White Stripes song in their history. It was first played February 6, 1999 at the Gold Dollar in Detroit, one of their key haunts. And it was last played November 15th, 2005 in Glasgow, Scotland at the Carling Academy. And one very cool thing happened a couple days, like a day or two after I saw Jack White here in Vancouver, while playing in Sacramento. He played this song as a solo act with his band he played it personally for the first time in 20 years on May 26th. Haven't heard it, haven't found it yet. I hope it's on Nugs, but clearly it's a song that has stuck with him for a long time and holds a special spot in his heart. So always nice to hear that a song could have that staying power, 30 years later.
Definitely. And like, I don't know, like when I saw those those dates, what I got in my mind when you told me the song was written by his brother,
Yeah.
I was imagining a deep falling out that has repaired itself, something like that. Like, why do you not play a certain song for 10 years or more?
20 years.
Yeah. And I don't know, the song's a banger. Maybe you forget about it, in a world where you are making up the set list as you go or something to that effect. Maybe things just fall by the wayside, but conspiracy theory hat, like tinfoil hat on securely. I'm like, I don't know, knowing some brothers, these are the type of things where like maybe you don't talk for 20 years, and maybe while you're not talking, you're like, I'm not playing that guy's song. F him.
Lots of, and much like our discussion about developments, we'll sprinkle lots of allegedlys in there.
Yeah, like I said, my tinfoil hat is like secured under the chin with this one. It's not. There's no evidence other than they didn't play it for a long time. But I'm willing to speculate. Why
That's
not?
right. Man, it's interesting to think like for a song that there's very little about or documented about. There's a lot to dissect with that, and man, we spent almost an hour talking about a minute and 51 song that was only played live 49 times. Matt, the next time you listen to this song, what's going to go through your mind after our conversation?
I don't know. Just gotta keep chiseling away and ringing bells for 15 seconds, and you'll find a good song in just about anything.
Okay, that was Matt. Matt and Ryan again. Matt has an understated wisdom. He has perfect analogies and comments to make just when you think that there's nothing to be said. So I always enjoy chatting with him. I really like his approach to music. And go see the film that he produced, thanks to the hard work of elephants. Go find it. Go find a legal copy. Stream it. Do that. That's it for this week. I think by when I record the next intro, I'll be in much higher spirits. In the meantime, the Hardest Podcast, a podcast, is hosted and produced by Ryan Schaap. Artwork by Catlin Likely. Amanda Schultz is our assistant editorial producer. Mike Noble is our Gato. Go Mariners.